Well, hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us for another update on MarkTwainZephyr.com. Also our Facebook and Twitter pages at Mark Twain Zephyr. I'm Robert Tabor, Director of Passenger Development for the Wisconsin Great Northern Railroad, and we continue our almost month-long road trip. It is Sunday, October the 31st. Happy Halloween, everybody. And we are here in beautiful Mount Pleasant, Iowa, where we're going to talk all things Zephyr. We have a couple surprises and exciting things. And welcome our first guest, Tom. And Tom, where are you from?
From here.
Oh, you're from Mount Pleasant here.
I was born in Burlington, but I've heard all my life up here in Mount Pleasant.
So Burlington guy. So what is your interest in the Mark Twain Zephyr? Do you actually remember it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you do?
My father and I owned a funeral home on Main Street.
Right here in Mount Pleasant?
In Mount Pleasant. And when the Burlington route, or the CB&Q, brought the Mark Twain Zephyr into the siding up here by the college, unloaded it onto flatbed semi-trailers and took it out to Old Threshers out to McMillan Park and placed it on a track by the original engine house out there.
So this was 1962 when it first arrived in town? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And of course at that time we didn't, I was in school, Dad didn't think about getting any pictures, but he managed to get one or two when it was already on track out at the park. Mm-hmm. And then my grandfather, and I couldn't find the old original video, if you call it that, the old 16 millimeter.
Film, yeah.
Got it, Highway 34 parallels the old CB&Q tracks down by the ammunition plant at Middletown. Mm-hmm. And there was a couple times where they had to turn the Mark Twain around at what they call Damon, which is the big Y out there that goes into the bomb plant.
Okay.
They used to turn it around down at Cascade, south of Burlington.
Yeah. So they changed that?
Well, they were doing track replacement.
Okay.
So the bomb plant allowed them to bring it up out west of Burlington to the bomb plant on the Damon Y and turn it there and go back down the hill downtown and back it in front of the depot. Well, my grandfather happened to get film of that.
Wow.
But I couldn't find it.
One day we'll find it and put it on our update. Yeah. Well, and I heard this morning here you're making a very generous donation to the museum and display car at the Wisconsin Great Northern. So we'd like to thank you for your donation, and then let's take a look at what you're going to be donating to our display car here. Looks like an HO scale on the Mark Twain Zephyr.
Yes, it is. It was put together by Challenger Imports in Des Moines.
Okay.
And at the time when these were first introduced, it was $950.
Wow.
It's brass, nickel plated, with plastic glass in it. They're not lighted.
How long have you had it for, or where did you
I've had it
online, or did you?
No, Rich Hood had the hobby shop at Burlington.
Okay.
And I was originally in the Railroad Club down there.
Okay.
And these popped up advertised on Trains Magazine.
Oh. Okay.
And of course, being a CB&Q collector, you don't pass these up.
Oh yeah.
So I bought this set and put it as part of my shovel nose collection.
Okay.
Never run it. Didn't intend to run it.
No.
Makes it more valuable, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just part of the collection.
Did you know Ernie Hayes at all, or?
Well, I'm a retired funeral director, so sorry to say I buried him.
Oh, you did?
When he died, yeah.
Oh.
Knew the family. Of course, I've lived here all my life, being in business, and he was in business. And then again, I was part of the Explorer Post that had a layout.
Oh, you were one of the Boy Scouts who had. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, when we were Boy Scouts, Troop 28.
Yeah.
When we got old enough.
14, you're old. No.
14, we were old enough that basically the Boy Scouts Association wanted everybody to move on into Explorer Scouts. That was for older kids. Basically, you're in it for 4 years, because then when you graduate from high school, you're kind of booted unless you stay with the main groups.
Oh, okay.
But we had our troop, you have to have a specialty, and we decided model railroading.
That's a good specialty.
And our leader at the time, Bob Grove, worked in the shops at West Burlington.
Okay.
So it was kind of natural that he took a bedroom in the second floor of his house, and we all built a layout, learned how to do the wiring and just everything. He was pretty knowledgeable. But then when the Mark Twain Zephyr showed up, and they, Old Threshers, there was 2 entities there for Old Threshers. One is the Midwest Central Railroad, which is a separate group from the association, Steam and Diesel Association. But they went ahead and let us build a layout in one of the cars. I can't remember which car it was.
Was it the baggage car?
I think it might have been the baggage car.
Becky Thatcher.
Yeah.
It was. Okay. So you had a model railroad inside the train, the actual Mark Twain Zephyr.
People could come up a little stairway, walk through, see it, go out the other end.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would have been Becky Thatcher.
But at the end of 4 years, and of course our troop kind of dissolved.
Okay.
Because a lot of us went on, some of us went to college, some went to work. It just sat. And of course, the Midwest Old Settlers didn't want anything to do with it. Midwest Central wasn't going to put any money in it. So over the years, kids got in there and basically destroyed the inside of the train. And I'm glad now to see it back in the hands of people who give a darn and are getting it back into.
Well, thank you.
That's our little depot group here. We've been talking about when you guys get it running, we're coming up to Wisconsin to see it, because.
And you guys are always more than welcome at any time if you want to see it being refurbished. It's kind of cool too to see it being refurbished before it even comes up. So it's not too bad of a drive. 6 hours, I think, not too bad, and you can come check it out. So, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it, and thank you for your donation.
I'm glad that you're going to get some use out of this, because it was just sitting in a cabinet in my train room. And
well, we appreciate always any donation that people might have, and whether it's this or part of the original train or whatnot. So we definitely appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're entirely welcome. Glad to be able to do it.
Thank you. All right, well, we saw Tom's wonderful donation to the Wisconsin Great Northern Railroad, and we're here with Ron Graber, who's the caretaker for Amtrak, and I think we interviewed you, talk about your memories of the Mark Twain Zephyr. You remember?
Yes.
Remember when it was pulled in 1962 as well. Why don't you tell us just a little bit about that?
I do. I was really young, but it was a big enough deal. My parents brought us over here to look at it when they pulled it into the siding at the college just west of us, and then we came back up after they had got ready to unload it and actually take it down to the old Threshers grounds. We watched it being towed through downtown, and I was, like I said, really, really young, but that's just something that stuck in my memory. Maybe that's what started my love of trains. I don't know. Could be.
Well, we have the latest acquisition of the Wisconsin Great Northern Railroad over here, some water tanks. So why don't you tell us a little bit of what exactly are these? Where would they be? What do you know about them? Or
couple of the original water coolers out of the train. The larger one here, I believe, came out of the RPO car, RPO section, and that was in the rear, actually in the mail sorting section. This smaller one was up front, actually in the engine, right on the back side of the bath. There was a bathroom about halfway back in that engine compartment, right behind the diesel. Okay. And this small one hung on the rear wall of where the bathroom was there, but just simply for onboard crew to be able to have water. Very simple. They'd dump ice in these compartments, fill it with water there, keep your water cold, and then just get, I suppose they just had cups, get it out in the cup. But a local guy and his wife, they prefer to remain anonymous, but he had them in his possession for a long, long time and wanted you guys to have them back. So
Nice. So what? How do you know how what they would use to keep the? This says ice water on it. What would they? What would they use to keep the it cold? I guess.
yeah, well, just simply ice. They would put.
So you'd put ice.
They would
here.
put ice in that compartment,
Okay.
and then your water would. It's split in the middle. So ice in this side, fill it up with water on that side. And just a real thin wall in there, so the ice would cool the water after it was in there. But pretty basic setups, and really kind of unique because they were very simple. They just have hooks on the back side of them. I suppose they had some kind of a bracket in there on the wall, so it was a very simple process. They could just lift them off, probably take them inside a depot or someplace, fill them up, carry them back out, and hang them back up.
So this would have been, of course, where we're going to remain anonymous, the person who did this. So the person, I presume, when this was sitting out in Mount Pleasant at the old Threshers, they would have maybe taken it.
These were removed when the train was out here at Mount Pleasant, and it's impossible to see in video. But the one out of the engine compartment,
we'll do a close-up picture and put it here.
okay, actually has a brass ID tag right here on it with the engine number. It says 9903, and then it's stamped I.Joe.
Would that be something normally in the Burlington that they would do? Have you ever heard of that? I've never heard of that before.
I never have. I suppose they did it just simply, so, you know, if they got removed for some reason, so they knew where they came from. Which it did. So.
And you said you remember as a boy that there a lot of people would kind of cannibalize the train or take parts as they come through.
There was a lot of souvenirs that were removed when it was down here.
What other souvenirs have you heard?
Well,
we won't name names either.
I think quite a few things, but both of the front air horns were taken off. There was a small air horn set in the back for backup moves up under the skirting on the OBS car. That disappeared when it was down here.
Did you ever want to take something as a boy?
I did, but I never did.
What would you have taken?
I had the urge.
Not the water tanks.
Well, I'll tell you what. I remember when I was a kid, the thing I always thought would be so cool to have is the big Burlington route placard off the nose.
You and about a million other
Yeah. So that thought went through my mind
frequently.
frequently.
Anybody who knows who has it, we still don't know. We found the medallion and the water tanks.
Exactly.
It's cool. People are willing to come with us and then send it out to the Wisconsin Great Northern to be back with the train. So I guess if anybody else has got any other parts of the train and you want to donate it, or whatever you want to do with it here.
That's right. So if anybody around locally, or you know anybody around locally, if anybody knows, at least consider it. Give it some deep consideration to donate it back to these guys, because I understand why everybody took souvenirs. When it left here, we never thought we'd ever see it again, because we all kind of assumed it would end up in a salvage yard somewhere, cut up into pieces. So I understand why people did it. But now that you guys are well underway with beautiful, beautiful restoration project, if anyone knows of anything or has anything, please consider donating it back to the Wisconsin Great Northern, guys.
All right.
It'd be a very worthwhile thing. So.
All right, thanks a lot, Ron. And we wrap up our month-long retrospective of the passenger cars of the Mark Twain Zephyr by taking a look at the Becky Thatcher.
Thanks so much, Ron. And that wraps up our road trip here in Mount Pleasant. On behalf of the Wisconsin Great Northern Railroad, I'm Robert Tabor, and we'll see you next Sunday. I guess it'll be November already. We'll see you the first Sunday there in November, coming up with another update on MarkTwainZephyr.com. Thanks, Ron, and thanks, Tom.
Bye, guys.
There, bye. All right.
Thanks so much for joining us for another update on the Mark Twain Zephyr at the Wisconsin Great Northern Railroad. Before you go, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's really easy. Depending on what browser you have, just click on the red subscribe button on the lower right-hand side below the video screen, or perhaps it might be in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. This way, you won't miss any of our future updates. For restoration updates throughout the week, head over to MarkTwainZephyr.com and click on the Restoration Updates link. We usually add a few photos during the week. Our next video update will be next Sunday afternoon. And remember, you can stay in touch with us throughout the week 24/7 on social media. We mainly use Facebook at Mark Twain Zephyr. We also occasionally use Twitter at Mark Twain Zephyr as well. Once again, thanks for following us and liking us and supporting the Mark Twain Zephyr restoration effort at the Wisconsin Great Northern Railroad. We'll see you back next Sunday at this time.
Fly